Alright, so you're in the middle of a great conversation with someone you're genuinely interested in, and suddenly, silence. The rhythm fades, the tension builds, and before you know it, she's glancing at her phone. Awkward moments like these can kill the vibe instantly. But what if you could turn that silence into spark? What if you had a simple way to reignite the connection without trying too hard or coming off as someone you're not? That's where playful banter comes in, not as a performance, but as a natural extension of your personality. The goal isn't to become a comedian or start delivering punchlines like you're on stage. It's about using humor and light teasing in the right moments, so it feels authentic and effortless. When done correctly, it shows confidence, charm, and emotional intelligence, all without forcing it. Think about the last time someone made you genuinely laugh. How did you feel about that person afterward? Probably pretty good, right? That's because laughter triggers the release of endorphins in our brains, creating an instant positive association. When you can consistently create those moments of joy and surprise, you become someone she associates with feeling amazing. That's not manipulation, that's human nature. Now, let's get one thing straight from the beginning. Playful banter isn't about being mean or putting someone down. It's not about showing off how clever you are at someone else's expense. True banter is like a verbal dance where both people are having fun. It's about creating a shared experience of humor and lightness that builds connection rather than tearing it down. The foundation of great banter starts with your mindset. Most guys approach conversations with women like they're walking through a minefield. They're so worried about saying the wrong thing that they end up saying nothing interesting at all. But here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of trying not to mess up, focus on having fun. When you're genuinely enjoying the conversation, that energy becomes infectious. Let me introduce you to the first pillar of magnetic banter, the art of gentle teasing. This isn't about being cruel or finding someone's insecurities to poke at. It's about noticing the quirky, endearing things about someone and playfully commenting on them. Maybe she orders her coffee with an unusually specific set of instructions. Instead of just nodding along, you might say something like, "Wow, you have a very diplomatic relationship with your barista. I respect the precision." It's observational, it's light, and it shows you're paying attention. The key to successful teasing lies in your delivery and intent. Your tone should be warm and playful, never sharp or condescending. You're not trying to embarrass her, you're trying to create a moment of shared amusement. The best teasing often includes yourself in the joke somehow. Maybe you follow up that coffee comment with, "Meanwhile, I just point at the menu and hope for the best." Now you're both laughing together instead of her feeling like she's being laughed at. Here's where most guys go wrong with banter. They think it's about being the smartest person in the room or having the quickest comeback. But the most engaging conversationalists are actually the ones who are curious and responsive. They listen to what the other person is saying and build on it creatively. This brings us to the second pillar, the yes and principle borrowed from improvisational comedy. When she says something, instead of just agreeing or changing the subject, try building on her idea in an unexpected way. If she mentions she's terrible at cooking, instead of just saying, "Oh, me too," you might respond with, "A fellow culinary artist. I specialize in smoke alarm symphonies myself. What's your signature disaster dish?" You've acknowledged what she said, added your own twist, and given her something fun to respond to. The beauty of the yes and approach is that it creates collaborative humor. You're not performing for her, you're creating something together. This makes the conversation feel more like play and less like an interview or a comedy show where she's just the audience. Now let's talk about timing, because even the funniest comment can fall flat if it's delivered at the wrong moment. Great banter requires reading the room and understanding the emotional temperature of the conversation. If she's telling you about something serious or meaningful to her, that's not the time for jokes. But when the mood is light and she seems receptive, that's when you can let your playful side shine. One of the most powerful tools in your banter arsenal is the callback. This is when you reference something funny that happened earlier in your conversation or even in a previous conversation. It shows you were paying attention, it creates a sense of shared history, and it often catches people off guard in the best way. Maybe earlier she mentioned she's always getting lost, and later when she suggests a restaurant, you could say, "Should I bring a GPS and emergency flares? Or do you actually know where this place is?" The third pillar of great banter is knowing how to handle the inevitable moments when your joke doesn't land. This happens to everyone, even professional comedians. The difference between someone who's charming and someone who's awkward is how they recover. If you make a comment that falls flat or seems to confuse her, don't double down or explain the joke to death. Just acknowledge it with a smile and move on. You might say something like, "Well, that sounded funnier in my head," and then shift to asking her a question or changing the subject entirely. This recovery skill actually builds attraction because it shows confidence and social awareness. It demonstrates that you're secure enough to handle minor social mishaps without getting flustered or defensive. Women find this kind of emotional resilience incredibly attractive. Let's address something important: the difference between confident playfulness and trying too hard. When you're genuinely relaxed and enjoying yourself, your humor feels natural and effortless. But when you're desperately trying to be funny or impressive, it creates a different energy entirely. People can sense the difference, even if they can't articulate it. The solution is to focus more on enjoying the process than on getting a specific reaction. Here's a practical exercise to develop your banter skills. Start paying attention to the absurd, funny moments that happen in everyday life. Maybe the elevator takes forever to arrive, or your coffee order gets completely wrong, or you both reach for the same item at the grocery store at the exact same time. These moments are gold mines for light-hearted comments. The more you notice them, the more natural it becomes to make playful observations. Another crucial element is learning to be comfortable with silence and not feeling like you need to fill every pause with a joke. Sometimes the most powerful moments in banter come after a perfectly timed pause. It builds anticipation and gives your words more impact when you do speak. The fourth pillar involves understanding escalation and de-escalation. Great banter has a rhythm to it. You build up the playful energy, then let it settle, then build it up again. If you're constantly at maximum playfulness, it becomes exhausting. If you never ramp up the energy, it stays flat. Learning to read when to push and when to pull back is what separates good banter from great banter. Remember that the goal isn't to be entertaining every second of the conversation. Sometimes the best moments come from being genuinely curious about her thoughts and experiences. Ask questions that show you're interested in her perspective. Then, when she shares something, you can respond with gentle humor that shows you were listening. As we wrap up, let me leave you with the most important insight about banter. It's not a performance technique, it's a way of connecting. When you approach conversations with genuine curiosity, warmth, and a willingness to be playful, you create an environment where both of you can relax and enjoy each other's company. That's when real attraction happens. The women who will be drawn to your authentic, playful energy are the ones worth getting to know anyway. You're not trying to trick anyone into liking you. You're simply showing up as the most engaging, fun version of yourself. And trust me, when you master this art, you won't just unlock her heart through laughter, you'll discover a more confident, charismatic version of yourself that makes every interaction more enjoyable. So go out there, practice these principles, and remember that the best banter comes from a place of genuine enjoyment and connection. Your future self will thank you for developing this incredibly powerful social skill. Don't forget to subscribe.